I'm not thrilled about this one. I'm not. Transformers Age of Extinction was released in 2014, directed by Michael Bay, this time starring Mark Wahlberg. And yeah, this was a complete downgrade for this franchise. So let's talk about it. And yeah. Okay, so I was very excited for this movie back in 2014 because I had such a fun time with the original three movies. Yes, even Revenge of the Fallen. But this movie was such a letdown in so many ways. So let's go ahead and start this review off, starting off with the good. And as for what I liked, there's a couple things, I suppose. First of all, in terms of human characters, the only ones I want to talk about, first of all, is Stanley Tucci. This guy puts his all into every role, even movies like this that don't deserve it. He puts everything into it, and he absolutely put everything into this movie that he had, even though it really didn't deserve it. He just went for it, and I loved it. Oh my God! Then you have the human villain of this movie, played by Kelsey Grammer, and he's not bad. He's not great villain, but he's serviceable. He's easy to watch. It's Kelsey Grammer. He's very classy as an actor, so yeah, I had a little bit of fun with his character. Outside of the human characters, as for the Transformers, obviously gotta give some love to Peter Cullen as Optimus Prime. Still gives a good performance. I'll get a little bit into his characterization later. But I did like his portrayal of Optimus in this movie. And then Bumblebee still gets some cool scenes. And I really like John Goodman as Hound in this movie. I thought that he was easily the most entertaining of the Transformers here. And aside from the characters, there's a few cool action scenes. That's about all I can say as for what's good here, so let's go on to the bad. And yeah, this movie, once again, like I said, complete downgrade from the original three. First of all, let's talk about some of the other Transformers in this movie. First of all, I really didn't care for Crosshairs or Drift. Drift was a little less obnoxious than Crosshairs, but I just didn't care for these two characters. They tried, but yeah, I can't really credit them at all. Then you have the villain Transformers here, and first of all, you get the main villain of this movie, Lockdown. Really kind of a one-note bounty hunter character, really nothing interesting. His face turns into a cannon. That's really the only characteristic I remember about him. And also the fact that they gave him a receding hairline for some reason. He's a Transformer, for God's sake. But yeah, outside of him, you get the return of Megatron in the form of Galvatron. Galvatron is one of my favorite iterations of Megatron in the original comics and the original cartoon from the 80s. This is a terrible portrayal of Galvatron. It's an ugly design, first of all. I don't like this design whatsoever. And also the whole way he becomes Galvatron is because Stanley Tucci's company has some kind of magic metal that they form into a robot, and they downloaded Megatron's conscience into it. I didn't like that at all. Also, the human characters in this movie, outside of Stanley Tucci and Kelsey Grammer, I did not like them whatsoever. Mark Wahlberg is our new lead protagonist. I did not care about this character whatsoever. And it's not even on Mark Wahlberg. It's just on the fact that this character is just boring and not fun to be around. And then his daughter is really one note, like the female characters in all these movies, apparently. She was very one note, very bland. And then the boyfriend character comes in. And this is where I take big issue here. Michael Bay tries to justify statutory rape in this movie. There's no way around that. That's just a terrible thing to do. I don't care how you look at it. I did not like that plot line whatsoever. TJ Miller has a character in this movie. I don't like TJ Miller, so yeah, his character obviously brings this movie down as well. And then the story to this movie, oh my god, it drags on. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes long. This is a nearly 3-hour Transformers movie. And I know that the first 3 weren't short at all, but they actually paced themselves and it didn't feel like they were taking an eternity to end. This movie goes on and on and on, subplot after subplot. It was tiresome by the end of this movie. You get to the final act in China and it still has 30 minutes left. And yeah, like I said about the characterization of Optimus, I get that there's stuff that probably happened between Dark of the Moon and this movie, but the way he just completely despises the entire human race now, what the hell was that? I mean, I get it. Optimus is older, he's jaded, he's seen the human race hunting down the Autobots, which also I will never forgive Michael Bay for what happened to Ratchet in this movie. But I don't know. It just felt out of nowhere. People who complained about Luke Skywalker's characterization in The Last Jedi are obviously not Optimus Prime fans who had to live through this movie. But, yeah, also, I just did not care for this movie. So, let's go on from the bad on some final thoughts. This was a chore to get through. It was tiresome, and I am glad when it ends every time I have to rewatch it. Transformers Age of Extinction is an ordeal to get through. It's way too long, way too convoluted, forgettable characters for the most part, and I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10. So that was my thoughts on Transformers Age of Extinction. What did you think about this movie? Let me know down in the comments what you thought about it if you have seen it. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.